Hey everyone, I'm Mike from theparkprodigy.com, and on today's video, we're going to break down the ultimate strategy for using the Disney Genie Plus over at Animal Kingdom Park. And if you've been watching our channel, you know that we have slowly but surely been breaking down the best strategies to use the Disney Genie Plus at all of the Walt Disney World parks. And I will say I am pleasantly surprised that Animal Kingdom is the first park that I am actually on the fence about whether I think it's worth it to use the Disney Genie Plus or go with the individual Lightning Lane over at Avatar Flight of Passage. Now, of course, that's if you're only planning to use one. You'll see we're going to break down a couple different strategies in this video, and we'll even give you a strategy if you plan to use both. But as always, I'm very excited, so let's go get started. Thank you all again so much for checking out this video. Like I said, we are about to break down the ultimate strategy for using the Disney Genie Plus over at Animal Kingdom Park. Now, I'm not going to get into the basics on what the Disney Genie Plus is, exactly how it works. If you've been watching our channel, I've done that a bunch of times. So if you do need the basics on how the Disney Genie Plus works, just be sure to go and watch one of those previous videos. But we are going to jump right in, and we're going to start to break down, and we're going to start to look at, okay, how do we want to tackle using the Disney Genie Plus at this park? Now, of course, just like our other videos, what I will do is I am going to kind of suggest and say like, hey, these are the rides that are not included with the Disney Genie Plus. So, if you need to go and do any of these attractions, like make sure that you have that into your game plan, because that is going to, kind of impact your day. Now, over at Animal Kingdom, there's not that many attractions that are not included with the Disney Genie Plus. And that's more so because, of course, Animal Kingdom is such a unique park in Disney. And again, similar to, I would say, Epcot and Hollywood Studios, there's not as many rides as over at Magic Kingdom, right? And because of that, it's more sort of those top tier rides. It's more quality over quantity. But what Animal Kingdom does a really, really good job of as well is they do have some very, very popular shows, such as The Lion King. And then, of course, they have the Finding Nemo show. And then they also have some really, really cool animal exhibits that you would expect, from a park that's called Animal Kingdom Park. So it is, there is a strategy that you definitely need going into your day. But with that being said, from a Genie Plus standpoint, there's not that many things that you can't take advantage of. And also, there's one really, really popular character meet and greet that you'll want to take advantage of if that's important to you using the Disney Genie Plus. So which attractions are not included with the Disney Genie Plus over in Animal Kingdom? I say attractions, these are really, just different things. Take that for what it might sound like. And I say attractions, it doesn't mean like specific rides. These are just the things that you cannot use with the Disney Genie Plus. First and foremost, we have animal encounters. We have winged encounters. This is essentially a show in front of the Tree of Life. We have the Boneyard. We have Conservation Station. We have Discovery Island Trails, Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. We have the Jungle Trek. We have Triceratops Top Spin. And then we have Wildlife Express Train. Now, of course, like I said, those are the rides and attractions that are not included with the Disney Genie Plus. Now let's jump into why most people are probably here, and that is, so which rides do you want to prioritize at Animal Kingdom? Now, what I will say is it's important to understand that when it comes to the Disney Genie Plus, like we just said, not all of the attractions are included, but that also, you have to consider that some of the attractions are going to be what we call quote-unquote individual lightning lanes or a virtual queue. Now, luckily, at Animal Kingdom, there's not going to be a virtual queue for any of the rides. So that means all of the rides or attractions are pretty much, you could just walk up to that ride and jump on a line. If that's confusing, this is the day and age that we live in and planning a theme park vacation. But the most important thing to understand is when it comes to Disney Animal Kingdom, we have the Disney Genie Plus rides, and then we have the individual Lightning Lane ride. But what's important to note is over at Disney's Animal Kingdom, we have the Disney Genie Plus rides, and then we have the individual Lightning Lane ride. And the individual Lightning Lane ride is Avatar Flight of Passage, which is by far the most popular ride in Animal Kingdom Park. So when it comes to which rides essentially have the longest average wait times, that's what we're going to break down. This is the list. And the reason why we're doing this, again, if you watched our previous videos, because, if these rides have the longest average wait times, then you essentially want to make these rides a priority if they are a priority for you to get onto them, right? And so this will help you come up with your strategy when using the Disney Genie Plus. So first, we do have Avatar Flight of Passage with an average wait time of 81 minutes. We have Navi River Journey with an average wait time of 61 minutes. That's, again, another Avatar ride. Then this is really important. In at number 3, we have Meet Disney Pals at Adventure Post. This is a character meet and greet, and it has the third highest wait time in Animal Kingdom at 51 minutes. Then we have Kilimanjaro Safari at 42 minutes. We have Expedition Everest at 29 minutes. We have Dinosaur at 24 minutes. We have Kali River Rapids at 13 minutes. And we have It's Tough to Be a Bug at 11 minutes. So again, as you can see, when we start to kind of break down, the average wait times, Avatar is right up there. And then we have a character meet and greet at number 3. I think that's the first park that we've had a character meet and greet this high up on the average wait time. Now, it's important for me to note that these wait times are the past 30 days. But of course, I've said this in previous videos that, trends are trends. These are the most popular rides. The average wait times might be higher. They might be less depending on the time of year you're visiting Disney. But as a general rule of thumb, these are going to be the rides you want to prioritize in that order from an average wait time. Now, again, jumping into the Disney Genie Plus, where it gets complicated is the Disney Genie Plus will sell out for specific rides. So, or, attractions, quote unquote, character meet and greet. So what that means is if you upgrade and you buy the Disney Genie Plus, and let's say you plan to use it over at, Kilimanjaro Safari, well, there's a max to how many people can use the Disney Genie Plus at that ride. So, if Disney's, if that ride reaches capacity, that's it. There's no more Disney Genie Plus for that day. So that's where the strategy comes in. I said I wasn't going to do the basics, but, long story short, you can only have one Disney Genie Plus selection at a time unless you're making a Disney Genie Plus selection more than 2 hours away. At that point, after the 2 hours or after park opening, whatever comes first, you can make another one. So again, this is where the strategy comes in, where you do have to kind of prioritize, like, hey, if you're upgrading and you're paying for the Disney Genie Plus, which rides are going to save you the most time and which rides are really the most important for you and your family. So again, the reason why it's important is we have the average wait times now. Now we can figure out, okay, but by what time do which rides do I need to select first if I'm using the Disney Genie Plus? And again, this is a really, really interesting park because the first, Disney Genie Plus attraction to sell out is actually that character meet and greet. So Meet Disney Pals at Adventure Post has an average sellout time of 1:19 in the afternoon. Then we have next, this is again very, very interesting, Feathered Friends in Flight. This is a show at Animal Kingdom, average sellout time of 2:58 in the afternoon. Then in at third, we have Avatar Flight of Passage at 3:08 in the afternoon. Fourth, Navi River Journey, 4:06. Fifth, Kilimanjaro Safari, 4:06. Everest is next at 5:20 at night. Then we have Dinosaur, 6:04 at night. We have It's Tough to Be a Bug at 6:05 at night. And then Kali River Rapids at 6:12. The other important thing for me to note is those popular shows that I mentioned earlier in the video, which is The Lion King and then Finding Nemo. Those have an average sellout time of 4:45, give or take. What I would say is those have an earlier sellout time than some of the rides, but my opinion is even if you use the Disney Genie Plus on those shows, I guess the advantage would be that you'll probably get a better seat, and in a lot of situations, I guarantee you that you'll see that show, but the shows aren't it's not running every 15 minutes, right? It's a 4 o'clock show. Then, no, this is a bad example because it's later in the day. It's a 12 o'clock show in the afternoon, and then there's a 1 o'clock show, then a 2:30 show. So, you'll have priority to get into those shows quicker, but you're still waiting, if that makes sense. So, if you're, in the park at 12:30, you still have to wait that half hour till the 1 o'clock show starts. So, I don't really know if I see the advantage of that as opposed to, rides, which are continuously running throughout the day. But now let's jump into the strategy, right? And again, my strategy for Animal Kingdom is really, in my opinion, and this is, again, I'm not saying this is right that Disney has made this system, but I'm just saying that this is, in my opinion, the best way to use it. If you're trying to get through all of the rides as quickly as possible or as conveniently as possible, my opinion, if you're already in your mind upgrading and getting the Disney Genie Plus, the best way to do it would be to kind of, combine that with the individual Lightning Lane for Disney's Avatar Flight of Passage. And again, the reason being is because Avatar Flight of Passage has the highest wait time. So my opinion is, if you're trying to get through everything, the way the system is set up is you want to use both. And so what my strategy would be, if you have both, would be at 7 o'clock in the morning, I would jump on and I would grab Navi River Journey for your Disney Genie Plus ride. And then I would individually Lightning Lane Flight of Passage. The other important thing, and reason why I'm saying like you do to do one before the other, is because the way that Disney Genie Plus works is you can't pick your return time. It's essentially whatever Disney is kind of giving you when you jump on the app. What the individual Lightning Lane, you can pick your return time. So what I would try to do is, especially because Navi River Journey is a Avatar ride, Flight of Passage is an Avatar ride. They're in the same section of the park. So conveniently, you want to say, okay, what time is my Navi River Journey return time? And then you want to make your individual Lightning Lane return time around that time. The other thing I would do is, again, this is really for guests who are rope dropping, trying to get through the rides as quickly as possible. Now that you did your Disney Genie Plus and your individual Lightning Lane, I would then go and I would either do Kilimanjaro Safari, then Everest, then Dinosaur, in that order. Or if it was me, this is what I would do. And here's my thought process behind it. I would rope drop, I would do Everest, then Dinosaur, then I would do Kilimanjaro Safari. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Kilimanjaro Safari, just like it sounds, it's a safari, right? So it's going to take you like 45 minutes to an hour all in. My opinion on what you could do is you'll be able to kind of bang out Everest and Dinosaur fairly quickly, because there's going to be very, very little wait times, and then the rides are not as long as Kilimanjaro Safari. So that's why I would get those two out of the way, and then you can kind of take your time going through Kilimanjaro. And even if it takes you an hour to an hour and a half, you pretty much got out 3 of the most popular rides, my opinion, still within the first hour and a half to 2 hours, which is really, really, which is going to set your day up that much better. And then, of course, you have the Lightning Lane and the Disney Genie Plus for the other 2 most popular rides over in Avatar. As you could see, again, not saying I agree with the fact that Disney, pay to play, but you could see that this would really, really get you through the rides that much quicker. And so that brings me to my next strategy. And I guess if you're not going to do the individual Lightning Lane for Avatar Flight of Passage, then I would kind of reverse this, and what I would do is I would rope drop Avatar Flight of Passage. I would still probably do the Genie Plus and Navi River Journey, because again, on an average wait time, I just think it's going to save you the best. But then, as you could see, you have to definitely rope drop Flight of Passage, do individual Lightning Lane at Navi River Journey, and then once you can make your next Lightning Lane selection, I would at that point definitely try to do the Safari with your second regular Disney Genie Plus selection. Or at that point, again, in this order, you might want to do Everest or Dinosaur. Now, these strategies have really been around the rides. As you could imagine, if you do want to do that character meet and greet, then yes, definitely make it a priority. Maybe after your first, maybe after Navi River Journey, then you go and you do the character meet and greet as your second Disney Genie Plus selection. But that would be my strategy, essentially. And you could see you could flip-flop between the character meet and greets or the rides, vice versa. But from a ride standpoint, that would definitely be my strategy. And you'll see when it comes to, we'll jump in. And so now we're going to jump in, some tips and tricks and kind of, last little minute notes about using the Disney Genie Plus at Animal Kingdom. What was so interesting about this park, and I guess one tip and trick that I would say, is when you break down the pricing, Disney's Animal Kingdom from a Disney Genie Plus price standpoint has the lowest pricing for the Disney Genie Plus out of all the parks. And I think that tells you something. And I think when it comes to, the individual Lightning Lane price over at Avatar Flight of Passage, they're kind of around the same price. I mean, Disney Genie Plus can be, more on certain days, but the individual Lightning Lane for Avatar Flight of Passage is going to be right around, between, let's say, $14 to $17, right? My honest opinion is, if you are rope dropping and you're like, we only have enough to budget for Disney Genie Plus or the individual Lightning Lane, like which one should we do? My honest opinion, I would probably lean towards, if it was me, I would go with the individual Lightning Lane, because I have rope dropped Avatar Flight of Passage And if you are going to rope drop this ride, you have to be some of the first guests in this park. Meaning, if rope dropping is at 8 o'clock, the park opens at 8 o'clock. Like, I mean, you should be in the parking lot by 7 o'clock, 7:15. And that sounds dramatic, but again, I have rope dropped Avatar Flight of Passage, and my friends, didn't take it serious, and we showed up at 8 o'clock when the park opened at 8 o'clock, and we waited for 3 hours to get onto this ride. And it wasn't like during Christmas; it was the first week of November. That's how popular this ride is. And I've always said, and we have a breakdown of like how to calculate what are you trying to save? Like, how much time do you actually need to save? My opinion is you need to be saving essentially 60 minutes for every $12 that you spend when it comes to the Disney Genie Plus and Lightning Lane selections. I believe that you definitely will get your money's worth when it comes to Avatar Flight of Passage and using the individual Lightning Lane. I also believe that, again, if it's one or the other, if you save those, 2 to 3 hours on the Flight of Passage, right, you can then focus on the other rides. And I don't see any reason why you wouldn't get through all the other rides, especially if you rope drop. Like I said, you could rope drop and you can do Everest, Dinosaur, and Kilimanjaro Safari. Those are like 3 of the most popular rides in the first 2 hours. So how would you, and then you individual Lightning Lane Flight of Passage, like there's no way that you wouldn't get through everything the remainder of the day, right? So again, these are just my thoughts, tips, tricks. The other thing I will say too is from a tip and trick standpoint, Animal Kingdom is a little bit tougher than some of the other parks just because the rides are so spread out. You'll see in my other videos, I said like, hey, definitely come up with a game plan because you really don't want to be walking all over the park. In certain situations, I would say this park by far is probably the one park that you really, just because of how much time you'll save, you might want to be flexible and say like, okay, like, we're going to walk over to Kilimanjaro Safari, then we're going to walk back over to Avatar. Just because of, again, there's less rides, so your strategy can be a little bit more all over the place, if that makes sense. I know it's probably not what a lot of people want to hear, especially if you don't like to walk, but it could be the best strategy as opposed to the other parks where I really feel like, hey, like if you're in, Magic Kingdom, if you're on the left side of the park, like try to get as many rides out of the way on that left side of the park. But that is it, everyone. That's pretty much my strategy on how I would tackle the Disney Genie Plus over at Animal Kingdom. I really, really hope that you found this video helpful. And of course, if you are in the process of planning a Disney World trip and you do need a little additional help, we're actually going to start giving out. We have a great ebook that we are going to be giving out to anyone who joins our newsletter. So if you do need some additional help and you want to get some free vacation planning tools, just be sure to check the link in our description. Also, if you need a little additional help past that ebook, just be sure to go check out our website, theparkprodigy.com, or subscribe to our channel as we have a lot more similar videos just like this coming out in the coming weeks. But I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you all again so much for checking out this video, and until next time, I will talk to you soon.